Hey, what's up? My name is Todd. I'm a writer, director, performer here at UCB Theater. This is Animated Stories. It's a live storytelling show that we have every month where people from the audience get up and tell their true stories about their life. And the best story of the night gets animated by a professional animator.
So I grew up in a town called West Orange, New Jersey. Nice place to grow up. And a lot of famous people from that town, surprisingly enough for a kind of small town. A lot of people, it's kind of like bad guys, like one of the bad boys of West Orange, New Jersey, George McClellan, the Civil War general, who kind of like fucked up the whole Civil War for the North and got fired. He lived in my town for a while. Naughty by Nature lives in my town, the rap group, like they qualify. But for my money, the real bad boy of West Orange, New Jersey, all time, also its most famous resident, Thomas Alva Edison. I'm sure everybody's heard of. And I think he's, first of all, a badass. I feel like people don't think enough about how much he contributed every day. Light bulbs, recorded sound, motion pictures. Like, who else has affected the way we live more than that guy? He's also notoriously kind of an asshole. People know that he's sort of like, a lot of the ideas that he has patents for, people say were more his workers' ideas, and he kind of put his name on the patent instead. So he invented the electric chair, and he killed an elephant. That's another famous story. He killed an elephant. This elephant on Coney Island named Topsy went out of control, killed its handler. They decided to put it down. Edison was like, I'll electrocute him. So he was a bad guy, and even within the confines of my town, he's kind of known for it. Like, you don't start with human beings and elephants. So he had these factories on Main Street in my town, these huge factories that he worked out of. And they're still there. They're abandoned now, these big brown crumbling buildings. But in the neighborhood of his factories, people started noticing there were tons of signs like, my pet's missing, my dog, my cat, have you seen it? And then the cops started getting all these calls, and they found out Edison was paying local kids 25 cents an animal that they could bring to him. And he was like, well, I told them to bring me strays. And the cops were like, well, they're kidnapping people's pets and killing them. Stop it, Thomas Edison. And he's like, I run this town. And they were like, you're right. You kind of do. You run this town. So he was like the bad boy, man. When I was born, I feel like I gave him a run for his money as far as who's the bad boy of West Orange, New Jersey. Because when I was born, I was evil. I was an evil child, an evil baby. My parents' friends, Sam and Rosemary, to this day tell me they were always like, we never wanted to have kids. Sometimes we'd start saying like, maybe we should. Every time we did, we'd just come visit your house because you were human birth control. You were such an out-of-control evil baby. They used to call me Damien, named after that movie, The Omen. The main character was like an evil kid. And when I was born, I actually had a V-shaped birthmark on my forehead. And when I would get angry, everybody says it would start to glow. It would start to like glow bright red, and that's when they knew I was gonna go nuts. And I would just like, for fun, for no reason, I would just walk up to my brother and start playing with him, and then grab his hand like I was gonna hold it, and then just put it in my mouth and bite down, and like a pit bull just wouldn't let go. I used to be so fucked up to other kids in the neighborhood that like when kids would play in my backyard with me and my brother, my parents had to buy this tent, this like mesh tent. So you'd see all these kids playing with my brother, and I'd be in this tent like like trying to get everybody. It's really weird because I'm a nice guy now, but I was born evil. And it wasn't just like I was like out of control. I was an evil genius. My favorite example was one time my mom took me, we went to this supermarket, the A&P on Main Street in our town, and everybody in this town knew each other, and people knew my mom. And we were there in a shopping, I'm in the shopping cart sitting in the top section, my mom's pushing me around, and the first thing that she bought, she went and bought like a giant bag of cat food for our two cats. So it's just me in the shopping cart with this giant bag of cat food, and we walk past these two women who are older, and they say hi to my mom. And as soon as they say hi to my mom, I just yell out, I don't want to eat cat food for dinner again, and start crying. And these women were looking at my mom like, you piece of shit. You make your kid eat cat food? You're like a piece of shit. And my mom was like, oh my God, no, I don't know why. But why would a little kid say that? There's no reason a little kid would just make that up unless he was evil, which I was. So most days when I was a little kid would end, and my brother would be like bleeding, and my mom would be like sitting at our kitchen table almost every night, just crying, just like completely demoralized crying. And I'd be like drawing on the walls or pissing on the floor, doing whatever I wanted. So one day, my dad came home, and usually he'd yell at me and I'd just like laugh at him or do something else bad. He came home and he like didn't say a word, and my mom was crying at our kitchen table. And he goes, come here, you, now. And he threw me in the car, and he just starts driving, and it's silent. And I'm like, where are we going? Where are we going? And he's not answering me, and it's dark out at this point. And he drives me a couple blocks away to Thomas Edison's factories, these giant abandoned buildings. I'm a 3-year-old kid. And he just pulls up, and I mean, this is an abandoned neighborhood in town. This is like desolate. It's totally desolate. And he grabs me, takes me out of the car, and he just puts me on the sidewalk, and he gets back in the car. And I'm like, where are you going? Where are you going? I want to go home. I want to go home. And he's like, you're not coming home. And I'm like, I want to go home. And he goes, this is your home now. This is where you live now. This is the bad boys' home. This is where the bad boys live. And I was like, I don't want to live here. And he started to drive away, and I chased the car. And I was like, I don't want to live here. I want to go home. He's like, this is your home now. This is your home. And he broke me. I started crying. And he then, only when he had broken me, and I was the one crying, did he bring me home. And I was good for a couple days, and then I went back to being evil. But my whole life growing up, I would drive past the Edison factories, and I'd be like, man, that's the bad boy home. And I grew up, and I learned more about Thomas Edison, and I realized how appropriate the name was.
If you like that video, you should subscribe to our channel, hit like, share it on Facebook and Twitter, and if you really like it, then you can come to our live show, which is the third Saturday of every month at UCB East in New York City.